important to do more than just running or cycling?
Okay, so the legs are very, as you said, it's a big muscle group. It's a series of muscles, a lot of different muscles, and I always say to people, think of a muscle as a brain. Okay, just picture one blob of muscle as a brain, and it's not enough to just do one thing and then think that you're doing what you need to be doing. It's not enough. So your muscle memory will be training and remembering and growing based on how you train it. So I don't know if that makes sense to you. So if the muscle is a brain, you need to keep doing the same thing over and over again, but adding more and more resistance and more weight to help it get stronger. So it's important because you need to build on what you're doing. Simply running is actually using the muscle. It's not building the muscle. So when you run and you cycle, you're using the muscle. So if you're using an underdeveloped muscle, that will really not give you the speed or the endurance that you need. So it's important to focus specifically on specific muscles in the legs.
Mm-hmm. So when you are running or cycling, which muscles are you focusing on, or which muscles are targeted?
So all of them. So how I like to break down my leg workouts is glutes, because it's part of the legs, believe it or not, your quads, your hamstring, and your calves. So that will be 4 muscle groups, and which all consist of the legs. So when you're running, you are activating the glutes, you're activating the quads, you're activating the hamstring, and you are activating the calf muscles. So literally, when you are moving, all of those muscles are engaged. So all of them have to have their specific strengths at different times because it depends on the movement. Obviously, if you're running uphill or if you're cycling uphill, you would be engaging glutes and your quads. If you're running downhill, you're obviously engaging more of your calf muscles and a bit of the lower back. So it's obviously just different muscles at different times that are working.
All right. Is it necessary to use gym equipment to achieve optimum results, or can you leave the gym equipment out?
So you can leave the gym equipment out depending on your goal. So there's 2 different objectives when you're training legs. It's either for endurance or strength. So endurance means like, how long can I lift this little thing, or how long can I lift it for without getting tired? That's endurance. Strength is how can I lift this heavier thing is with ease, as am I able to lift a heavier thing without getting tired. So it's endurance, which is the number of times, and strength, which is the weight of the object. So when you are trying to build strength, the equipment at the gym helps with that, because you're adding things like 20 kilograms, and then you're adding 30, 40, 50. So the gym equipment is obviously easy, because I can't tell you in the space that I'm in right now that there's something that is 50 kilograms that is built to be lifted by the human body and trained in a specific way. So it's easier to just go to gym if I'm training strength. But if I'm training for endurance, for example, I can literally be at home and just do squats with my own body, or I use a resistance band. But the number of reps is more important, less than it is about the size of the weight that you're lifting. So it's all about your objective when you're training your legs.
All right. So, and what body weight exercises can we do that targets the lower body? And then we're trying to switch things up instead of the occasional squats and lunges.
Yes. Okay. So that's sad, because squats and lunges are your main thing. But look, you can really there's a lot of different, because if you think about it, the lower body is concentrated on either hinging or bending. So when you're hinging or bending, same word. So when you're bending, you are kind of like, this is a hinging movement. If you can see my finger, like hinging. So anything that will put you in a movement of hinging. That's why I'm saying squatting is the best, because really, you don't need any weights for it. You just squat and lunges as well. But if you've got a back problem, you can literally do seated exercises. Like you can add ankle weights and lift your legs, or press your legs up, or do side leg lifts. Obviously, if I was in the studio, I'd be able to show you better. You can do, you can move up the stairs, you can walk up the stairs and down the stairs again. And those are all kind of simpler and less impactful things than a squat and a lunge.
All right. Now, if you have an injury, like you pulled a hamstring or sprained an ankle, well, should you continue working out? Should you rest a bit? Or what should you do instead?
Do not work out with an injury. That is, so essentially what an injury means is it means the muscle fibers are obviously either torn or sprained, or just there's some inflammation or something isn't right. And the best way to fix that is to rest. There's no such thing as no pain, no gain. When you're in pain, you don't do anything because you will not gain the muscle. In fact, you will just be adding, because if you think about it, if you injure your hamstring, you will feel it in your hamstring, but you'll also impact other muscle groups, because now the other muscle groups have to pick up the slack. So your knee has to pick up the slack for a weaker hamstring, and your ankle will have to pick up the slack, or your quad muscles or your hip rotator muscles will be injured. And you run the risk of affecting not just where the injury is, but your other muscle groups, because they're having to overcompensate for the injury. So if you've hurt your knee, it's most likely because you've underdeveloped your quad muscles. So you've got to make sure that you are aware of when there's an injury, it means something else is underdeveloped. So that's why it's very good to balance working out your legs in those 4 groups that I described. Because if you have an injury, it's usually an indicator that something else in the body has been underdeveloped. So stop, rest, feel better. Do not take anti-inflammatories and then hit the gym like I used to do, because it just makes it worse. You've got to rest the muscle. Like I said, the muscle is a brain. And if you've studied for long enough, I don't know if you've ever done it and you're like, I can do another chapter, and then you literally just burn out. That's exactly what happens to the muscle as well. You push it to a point where it actually really, really can be more detrimental than beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then while resting, how much rest is too much, and when will you know that you are ready to get back into it?
Okay, so if you're not injured, I like to say to people, if you work the legs today, rest tomorrow, and then you can maybe focus on another muscle group tomorrow, rest the next day. So give your muscle a break to rest and oxygenate properly, because it's all about oxygen and protein synthesis and what you're feeding your muscle during the rest. So rest in between days if there's no injury. But when you are injured, you can literally, I would say about 3 weeks, but if you still feel pain, go to the physio, and then you can kind of get a proper gauge as to how much rest you need, and they'll do like an ultrasound or whatever. But I usually say about a week, it will resolve. And then if it's a more serious injury, like a tear, like a muscle tear, 2 to 3 weeks. And then obviously if it's like a serious sprain or like a tendon or something really serious, that would be about 6 to 8 weeks. So we want to avoid having you out of action for about 6 to 8 weeks. So take the precautions of resting in between. And also supplements are important to make sure that you're recovering well between your workouts. But so go with how your body feels.
Well, I know some people will be like, oh, it happened like 5 months ago, but they are still injured. And they're like, no, I injured. I can't do it. It's like, why? I mean, you injured, so you injured back then. But what about now? It's time to move on.
The amazing thing about the body, especially the muscles, is that it's a regenerative thing. It repairs itself. And you'll be fine. So 5 months is now you're just chilling. I must.
All right, sis, do stay with us. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back.
Sure.
Necessities. The African Muslims Agency teams are on the ground undertaking emergency relief efforts. Come to the aid of the people of Yemen by donating any amount now towards food, shelter, and medication. Contact AMA now on 011 834 8685. African Muslims Agency, inspiring the spirit of giving.
Dad, well, I've been chatting with an investment broker today, and...
Broker? Did the broker tell you that our economy is a mess? There's bushfires in Australia, America wanted World War III, and now the coronavirus is traveling around the world.
Well, I also thought about purchasing some crypto.
Crypto? What's that, like another pyramid scheme? I don't trust what I can't see.
There's an apartment in Belito.
So all your family will be asking to stay there for free. And what if the government takes it away, eh?
Dad, I don't think it works like that.
I'll tell you what works. Gold. At your age, I invested in gold coins and it paid for your university fees and your wedding. No contracts, no agreements. Your investment is in your hands and you own it. With a 70% growth in only 5 years. Do you still doubt gold investment? Contact RJ Coin today. 031 202 4701 or visit them at 151 Stephen Lamini Road in Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers Gold Coin Exchange. Your passport to gold investment.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You are still listening to the Mari Mukwanda Show on Salam Media, and today we are talking about lower body exercises with the fitness trainer Luyanda Aziza CPC. And if you've just joined us, you missed out on a bit because we spoke greatly on why it's important to work out your lower body because apart from it being the biggest muscle, but it also makes you look good and also feel good. All right, Luyanda, are you still with us? Thank you for staying on the line if you are.
Yeah.
All right, now beginners, what is the best way for beginners to start? Because I mean, if somebody who hasn't done a squat before or a lunge before, how can they go about doing that?
Okay, so obviously the best thing to do is to, get educated on your form, because form is obviously going to determine how long you last in the game. When you've got poor form, you obviously will get bailed out by injury and then you'll just give up and you won't see any results because you're not doing it right. So make sure you maybe even if you don't want to get a personal trainer, get one session with somebody who will show you how to do a squat, who will show you how to do a lunge, who will show you how to do a deadlift, who will show you how to do jump squat, who will show you how to do, whatever needs to be done and how to use equipment to gym if you are in the gym. So start by just educating yourself on the form. And then before you add any weights, just try to make sure that you can at least do 10 sets, 10 reps of 3 sets, the 10 to 3 rule. So 10 squats 3 times over, 10 lunges 3 times over with no weights whatsoever. And just do that for at least 3 days in a week for about 6 weeks. And that is obviously your basic for beginners, okay? And then as you go along, you can add small amounts of weight and more, you can add more weights and more reps. So instead of doing 10, you can do 12, and then 10, 12, 15. You can play around with it just depending on, your program. But as a beginner, I would definitely say start by knowing your form, how to do the squat, how to breathe. I cannot stress enough the importance of, it sounds like it's so trivial, but learning how to breathe during exercise can actually make your results 10 times better than they were if you didn't know how to breathe. So learn how to breathe, learn how to do your form, learn what equipments to use, and just get a basic program of about 6 to 8 exercises 3 times a week with 2 rest days in between. And it's just that simple.
And activate your core.
Activate your core. So that's all forms part of the breathing. You'll find that, the core is all about breathing. And because when you inhale and you exhale, you'll see your abdominal interior core is also working hand in hand. So yes, you are right, Mariam, breathing and your core is all that. It's all about that. And you know the drill.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, I heard somewhere that shoes are crucial in order to get good results. And I don't know how true this is because apparently if you are doing squats and lunges, you're supposed to have like flat shoes like All Stars, and then normal running shoes can be for anything else. Is there some truth to that?
Absolutely. So I just did legs today and I can't be in studio, but I will show you my lifting shoe. Let's try to move it. Yeah. So this is my lifting shoe, Mariam. As you can see, it's very flat. The base, it's flexible and it's not heavy. So the whole point of it like this is to ground you, to give you proper grounding. As you can see, like it's really not anything fancy. It's just a flat shoe. Remember, when you're lifting, you need to be firmly firm to the ground and have a shoe that doesn't, bend as much as a running shoe does, because you're not doing as much movement. So the shoe that I showed you is a flat shoe. It's a simple shoe. So yes, All Stars, but I can't wear All Stars during training because I've got a pronating foot. So if you know the jargon, pronation, and there's different ways that your foot strikes the ground, and you have to be considerate of that. But the best shoe to use when you're lifting and you're doing strength training is a flat shoe that will give you enough grounding and grip. So Nike, for example, not to name any brands, but just because I have done some research, they have a shoe called the Metcon shoe. It's so hard to run. It would be impossible to run in that shoe. But to lift, you feel like you're cemented to the ground. It's almost like it has a magnet. It's so firm, and the footing, your foot is firm to the ground. So yes, shoes are very important. Do not use your running shoes to lift, because a running shoe is meant for a locomotive movement rather than just a stationary stance, which is meant for to grip you and anchor you to the ground. So yes, shoes are very important. Think of your favorite brand, and then just chat to your salesman about cross-training shoes and about lifting shoes and about running shoes. There's a big difference between the three of them.
So whoever is watching and listening and are not getting results, it's probably your shoes. So probably consider changing your shoes.
There isn't so many other things to consider.
Yeah, imagine that. All right, speaking about considerations, earlier you spoke about 4 muscle groups that we need to target in our lower body. So how often should we do exercises to target those specific muscle groups? Like, should it be combination exercise that targets all of them? Can we do like you mentioned also, today you're targeting quads, tomorrow you're doing hamstrings, the other day you're doing calves, etc.?
So what I like to do is I do my glutes on a separate day. I don't do, but it depends. If I'm in the gym, maybe for about 2 hours, I can do the whole of the legs. I can do glutes, I can do quads, I can do calves, and I can do hamstrings, because I usually just do like 3 or 2 to 3 per group. So 3 glutes, 3 quads, 3 hamstrings, and 3 calves. So that just makes sure that you're balancing all of them and you're not underdeveloping and compromising one over the other. But I like to do glutes separately because they are like it's a larger. So within your glute muscle, you have your gluteus maximus, you have your gluteus medius, and you have your gluteus minimus. So there's 3 different muscle groups within the glute muscle. So I like to keep that muscle separately. I like to train my glutes separately, and then I do legs the rest of the time. So it's really up to you and how much knowledge you have of your muscle groups. Look, there's people who just want to look, I'm just at the gym, just tell me what to do. But if you have a bigger, more complex knowledge of what muscle you're working on, you do want to have a program, write it down on a piece of paper. I'm going to do 3 hamstrings, 3 this, 3 that, 3 that, and then just see how you go from there.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, sis. But before you go, give us your social media handles.
Yay! Okay, so I'm on Luyanda Aziza, and actually the last video I did a lower body workout. So if you guys want to see what I typically do at the gym, I've discussed everything that I've shown in the video. Luyanda Aziza on Instagram, a cool lower body workout. Literally took me like an hour. Was amazing, so much fun. I did that at the gym, and then on Twitter I'm Luyanda Aziza as well, and on Facebook I'm Luyanda Aziza. But I have a separate Facebook which is Luyanda's Lifestyle Boutique, which is the same kind of vibe, but it's obviously just more focused on the lifestyle and the fitness. So those are all my handles, and I think anytime you just type in my name and I can pop up anywhere. You can follow me, or you can DM me, you can WhatsApp me, and I'm always happy to help with any questions that anybody has.
All right, you are missing one page. When are we getting the YouTube page?
Don't do this. Look, my daughter's been asking me, when are you doing a YouTube page? And I'm just like, I just don't feel worthy of a YouTube page yet. It's a lot of work, Marianne. And if you will be my assistant, then fine, we can do a YouTube page together.
Inshallah, we'll talk more about that. But for now, shukran for your time. Thank you for joining me once again and for the knowledge and insight. It's always fun chatting to you.
Always fun. I love you, sis. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. All right, so that was fitness trainer Luyanda Aziza CBC talking to us about the best workouts for lower bodies and how to get lower body strength, what workouts to do. If you are a beginner, start with your squats. There are simple squat challenges that you can find on the net. Google something. They're also on YouTube. You can just Google something. And the best part about YouTube is that you can actually see what people are doing. They teach you the form and how to get your form correctly, but it's advisable to go to a professional to help you to achieve the correct form and the correct way to breathe. It's so important to breathe. I know when you breathe properly, you also will have less injuries. And when you breathe properly, you will also see results better. And also, we spoke about shoes, having specific type of shoes in order to achieve optimum results as well. So shop around, look for what works for you, what is going to help you out. Doesn't have to be an expensive brand. Whatever is within your budget, look for that and use that as well. If you have any more comments, questions, or suggestions, please send them to us on WhatsApp. The number is 0617660355. You may also leave them in the comment section below. And yeah, we are live on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you and what you would like to know from our fitness coaches. Luyanda Aziza just shared her handles with us. So if you would like to find her on social media, you can do that. She is Luyanda Aziza. Okay, guys. Before I take a break, I'd just like to let you know what is coming up on the special focus with Zahid Jadwat today. The title.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
As the crisis in Yemen continues, 80% of the population are in desperate need of basic necessities. The Africa Muslims Agency teams are on the ground undertaking emergency relief efforts. Come to the aid of the people of Yemen by donating any amount now towards food, shelter, and medication. Contact AMA now on 011 834 8685. Africa Muslims Agency, inspiring the spirit of giving.
Dad, well, I've been chatting with an investment broker today and...
Broker? Did the broker tell you that our economy is a mess? There's bushfires in Australia, America wanted World War III, and now the coronavirus